And Lenore, fascinating interview and profile piece on Malcolm Turnbull in the Good Weekend. He made the point that if he doesn't regain the leadership, he would regard his political career as having been a failure. What's going on there? Because clearly, when he was persuaded to not resign and to stick around, it was for a purpose.
Well, I think he's trying to say he'd be happy to stay in politics so long as he can implement big ideas. Now, I mean, clearly he's still got ambition. He's not going to get anywhere with that when the polls are as they are in favour of the coalition, but he's presenting these big ideas, and that presents him as a neat counterpoint to Tony Abbott, who's often criticised for, not having big ideas, for speaking in thought bubbles. And in the interviews, he never ever said anything that was critical of Abbott directly, but he was very careful, very keen to sort of point out that he researches his speeches and he footnotes them, and he doesn't make a contribution to the debate unless he's really thought it through. And he's been raising these big ideas, which unfortunately neither side of politics has been clever enough to take up, like the Sovereign Wealth Fund, for instance. So, I mean, he's setting himself up in contrast to the current political debate.
No direct criticism, but he said, don't knock and deride scientists, because it'll be the total triumph of know-nothing. Who is he talking to there?
The Australian people listening to the derision of scientists.
And some good, I think, some analysis too from Hugh Mackay, for example, and John Sturton, but essentially saying that Labor's mistakes have given Tony Abbott a dream run, to quote Hugh Mackay, but he should be, in those circumstances, Tony Abbott should be further in front. With Turnbull in the job, put down your glasses, the race is over. That's what they argue.
Well, and they're basically saying that the weakness for the coalition is Tony Abbott's personal unpopularity, that while you've got a really unpopular Prime Minister and a really unpopular opposition leader, that kind of cancels each other out. But if you had a really popular coalition leader, they would be miles in front. And I think, that analysis is pretty credible.
But I think to get a major news magazine to say on the front cover that Malcolm Turnbull is Zen-like is probably the PR coup of the year.
I think I did inject a note of scepticism in the copy about that particular comment.